All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about how to build your bridge. You can see here that we've got our design laid out. We've double checked the measurement and we are sure that it covers a 12-inch span. And the length of the bridge is 14 inches. So from one end to the other, the max length is 14. We can't worry about the width yet. That would be coming up later when we have two sides that we're going to attach together. That's when we'll worry about the width. But for now, we're just talking about one truss, one side of your bridge. So I've laid out the drawing, and if you don't have a big piece of paper at home, you might have to tape two pieces of paper together, whatever you got to do to make it work. Let's talk about some general construction techniques and safety. Number one, you're going to want to find some safety glasses or something to shield your eyes. Sometimes popsicle sticks can go flying, so you want to make sure you have your safety glasses on. Number two, we're using hot glue as the method to connect our popsicle sticks together, and hot glue is hot. If it's been on for a while, the tip of the glue gun can cause a pretty serious burn, so be sure you always point it away from you, not toward you, and be aware that even though that glue may be sitting on a popsicle stick for a few seconds, it can still be dangerously hot, so be careful. So safety glasses, and be careful with the hot glue gun. The next is the cutting tool. We're going to need something to cut the popsicle sticks, and we have a couple of these cutting tools here at school. We've got some wire cutters that'll work. This is a pair of combination pliers, but down here is another wire cutter. That'll work as well. And to clean up any cuts, we're going to use some sandpaper. Just any old piece of sandpaper will work. We hold the piece flat on the table like this, and we can sand the end of the popsicle stick to an angle if we need to, like that. It's kind of hard to see there. So those are some tools. You're going to need a cutting tool, some method of adhesion of putting things together. And if you don't have a hot glue gun, you could also use wood glue. You could use Elmer's white glue. But a hot glue gun seems to be one of the quickest and easiest ways to go. So we're going to start out with the base. The first thing you're going to build is the lower cord all the way across. And you've got to come up with your method in joining these together. As you can see here, if I just glue these end to end, not only would that be really weak, but it also isn't going to be long enough. So you need to figure out how you want to do this. I'm going to space them out, and it's really important that we keep them nice and straight so that our bridge sits flat on the table. And I'm going to take another one of these and I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm just going to take a ruler. Looks like these are 4.5 inches long. Half of 4.5 is 2 1/4, so I'll put a little mark there. I'm going to hold one side with my hand, and I'm going to point the other side down toward the table, not towards someone's face. And then I'm just going to, I'll hold both sides and just squeeze, and it cuts it like that. Okay? So I'm going to use this as a way to bridge the gap here. So I'm going to take some glue with the hot glue gun, and I'll apply, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch wide bead across there. About like that. And making sure that my lower pieces are exactly where I want them to be. I'm going to glue this on like that. And then I'm just going to apply some pressure and hold that down just like that. I'm going to also take the other side and do the same thing. Just like that. Again, we want to make sure that everything is nice and straight. So it's important to draw your line straight with a ruler or a yardstick or a straight edge of some sort, even a piece of wood. And then you can pick this up and kind of push it down against the table and make sure that it's straight like that. So now we have our lower cord. And now I'm going to take some tape. You don't have to do this. I just find that it's a lot easier, especially now that we're not working with partners. It helps to hold things in place and keeps the project nice and square. So I'm just taking some tape, laying it across the lower cord like that, and pushing it down. First step, lower cord completed. Next, we want to build the top and then the ends, and then we'll fill in the middle last. So we're going to take some more popsicle sticks and lay them out and see how it works. Well, the length of that is perfect, but we know that if we just put a little bit of glue on the end of one of these and glue on the other, and it doesn't matter how strong the glue is, that's not going to be a strong connection because you just simply don't have enough surface area. There's not enough surface area there, waiting for that to come into focus, to make it strong. So that's not a good way to do it. We could, if we had the perfect length, we could cut them both at an angle and then glue them together this way. That increases the surface area. Or you could do what I did down below and run a piece over top. And you have to decide, do you want to run a half a piece, a whole piece? How do you want to do it? That's up to you. And you have to count your popsicle sticks and make sure you're not going to run out. I think I've calculated that I'm going to need about 18 for this side. Since I'm building two sides, that would be 36 total, so I should be in good shape. So I'm going to take a full one there, and again, pushing that down, checking it against the table to make sure it's nice and straight, lay it back into position, and again, I'll tape it down. Now we're going to work on the ends. You have to think about how you want to join these together. You can lay them right on top. That's easy. Or you can get really detailed and you can trace this line across here and cut that part off if you want to. And just to show you how to use the wire cutters, if this is what you have available to you. Many times to take the whole cut at once is tough. So I take a little bit, and that's what you don't want to have happen. It split the popsicle stick. Let's try that again. And if that happens to you, see me for another popsicle stick if you need it. If you're only using 50, not that big of a deal. So let's try to take all of it if we can. So I'm lining up the blade with the pencil mark, holding on to the end, pointing the other end toward the table. And one quick snap. This is going to be tough for some of you, but that seems to work better. Now you'll notice there's still a little bit of the line on the piece of wood there. So this is where your sandpaper comes in handy. You can take some sandpaper and adjust it. Sand a little bit off. I'm holding it at an angle, just moving it back and forth until you get it exactly the way you want it. And then you can test it, see how it fits. So you could do something like that. You could also do the same thing up here to the top. So that goes around there a little bit. We can sneak this underneath, do it that way. We could glue it like that. Or again, if you want to, really get detailed, you could try to sand and cut something like this. This is probably not going to work. It's probably going to split. We'll give it a shot. There we go. A little trick here, you can take the sandpaper over a pencil. This is how you can get a rounded surface on the inside of that cut. Again, I don't know that anybody's ever gone to the trouble to do this. I'm just showing you how well you can cut them so they fit just like that. But again, gluing it with this little bit of surface area isn't necessarily going to be enough. So if I glue it in place like that, I can do that. That's great. But I would definitely recommend taking another piece and making some sort of plate to go over top. So I'm just going to take some glue there and add that. And you could even put one on the underside of that if you wanted to. So again, you can do it that way, or you look over here at this side, because that happens to be the right length, you can simply add some glue and go right on top. And that is okay as well. So you decide how you want to do it, how detailed you want to do it. Either of those should work. So I've got the middle here. Again, I'm just gonna square off the end, or I can run it on top like that, but I'll square this off. And And you're going to need a pencil for this so you can mark exactly where you want things to go. So I'm going to cut that and we're going to glue it on top. And then you would get into the rest of the webbing. So cutting them at an angle if you want to, having them overlap, it's up to you. I would just encourage you to take your time and do a good job. When this is all done, it's not done yet, but when it is done, we would remove the tape. And sometimes we tear the drawing a little bit because of the glue that may have gotten onto the paper. And that's all right, we can just kind of run our finger underneath here. We set that aside, and then we build another one. So we're going to build two exactly the same, and then we'll talk about how to connect them together. That's how you start with some construction techniques and start to build your bridge. Good luck.